Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. Featuring today a Monday novice fight. Yes, indeed, to those of a weaker constitution and apparently mentality, do look away. In the meanwhile, for the rest of you, those who seek to learn, we shall be watching Angeleyez and Spirit Star fighting for the Allies, and the usual really difficult to deal with American-British convoy. Again, they did not really fight like that much in the war. Opposing them, those shall be Deadnation and armies. Look, I'm not entirely sure I'm supposed to pronounce that one. There's no real sort of, end stand starts here. Damn it. And we'll imagine this is somewhere near Arnhem, doing Operation Market Garden. How the Americans got there, no one knows, and I'm not going to ask, since again, not really this sort of historical combination. I prefer two Brits or two Americans, to be honest. And already note here, let's know around. These chaps are fighting for the Kampfgruppe von Tettau, a unit scraped together from a series of, basically different units. But we shall be watching, these chaps flying out, and we are already noting here something, slightly unfortunate. We are noting a weapon support center start from the Allies. And at the same time, you've got two infantry sections out for the Brits, and one of them, of course, unsupervised, meaning it's going to be moving considerably slower. And by the looks of things, he could be sending the headquarters command truck there, I suppose. Or perhaps towards here. At the same time, not much in the center. The Americans are pretty much removed from there, because again, why? They don't have any infantry. In fact, a weapon support in the start basically means no infantry at all, at least not initially. And also rather limits what Spirit Star can really do in a fight. And there we go, truck is ready, lieutenant moving out. Wehrmacht sort of heading into the center. We're seeing some false candidates out for Deadnation and a bike, some pioneers. Slightly more sensible unit composition there. Pioneers out for armies, and we've got something in here. An MG42 taking up position in the central post office. Hiding and waiting, biding its time. And we're seeing a bit of patrolling here. In fact, we could easily see the Wehrmacht move in and cut off some resources there. They could even shoot at this truck. It's moving. We're actually seeing speed coming us up. So, in fact, the British player is expending resources to swiftly speed up his track. And, initially, that might not necessarily work. In particular, of course, it will be precious fuel spent on it. Bit of light finding home here. Recce section getting under heavy fire from pioneers and a bike. Truck moving in towards the munitions, in fact, completely ignoring the fuel. Infantry section moving about in the center. Could run into the MG. Forward barracks up. That seems peculiar. And another MG42 from the German player's armies, but no infantry for him as of yet, which is not really encouraging. Headquarters setting up there under fire, with no real infantry support. Sniper sneaking about. Has not revealed himself yet, I suspect, or has. Perhaps might get hunted down, might not. But again, no real infantry from him, and three engineers largely standing about doing nothing. These resources haven't been secured yet either. Nor has this. In fact, there's a lot of fuel right there, and not secured at all. And now the sniper gets spotted and is forced to run from the forces of Detonation. Heavy firing right here. MG opening up somewhere. Recce section moving out and getting shot out by the MG42 right there. Perhaps Deadnation should be sending more troops here. Infantry section out, so that's 3 infantry section for Angeleyez. Bike will go down. MG42 needs to open up when the troops standing about out in the open. Pioneers also need to consider locating to other premises. There we go, retreating. And Angeleyez proceeds to fire at the one unit the MG will do least against. That is the units inside the building instead of the units it would have been most effective against, the units out in the open. What an absolute waste of an MG. At the same time, we are seeing the Bren gun popping out for Angeleyez. This will probably, though, be a British air landing division, glider troops. Glider troops generally were considered less elite than the actual airdropping, though. And generally also were considerably less trained. They were basically just there to support the more glamorous paratroopers. And the Volkskrieger again moving out into the open between two different units, not good. The also problem is, of course, is how Deadnation is spreading out his troops, and more importantly, he's spreading out a considerable part of the map. And for a novice, I mean, that's not really what you should be doing, because again, you will be spreading out your attention. And one thing you do need to work on as a novice is your attention, and that's not going to help if you just spread it out insanely like that. But returning to Spirit Star, who's finally secured some of this, he's actually laying down observation posts on considerably low resource points, going up with a supply yard, going with some there as well. No doctrine for him as of yet. We're seeing some tank traps laid down there. Apparently, Deadnation is worried about some sort of swift armored assault. Volkskriegs here fighting, so Sotami's finally got some infantry up. We're seeing a sniper adding in a bit. Bren gun is firing away. The Bren gun, a light machine gun. Reasonably accurate, but not a huge rate of fire or large magazine. It was more designed for sort of being more accurate in this way. Although, again, the German MG42 in a sense was also. But the Germans also figured something else in it, which basically also the first few shots actually more likely to kill somebody. So, again, there's always some fun thoughts there on sort of how armies approach machine guns as well and how they operated. It looks like a sniper was killed for Spirit Star. By the Volkskriegs, we're now seeing machine gun placements going down. And we're also seeing a 30 caliber out for Spirit Star. He's absolutely providing no assistance for his British teammate, who's currently under attack from 2 Wehrmacht players. Except for the troops who seem to be sort of hanging about there. Although, again, the overall assault sort of being combined against the British is so far a bit lackluster. Troops here need to be careful. They are under direct mortar fire, and we are seeing rifle grenades out for Angeleyez. And apparently they're shooting very poorly. Come on, Volksgrenadiers, Rückzug. Come on, Detonation, unit preservation. Flamethrower pioneers moving in. Come on, Detonation, preserve your Volksgrenadiers. And we are seeing more infantry being lobbed at the opponent. Victory points are yet to be secured up there, by the way. Brits retreating from there. Wehrmacht largely putting back. We're seeing an MG4 moving up with a sniper. Kriegberg's going up for Detonation, but again, and we're also seeing a bunker down there. Apparently he's really concerned with something. But again, he should be concerned in attacking the British player, because, I mean, and never mind, they should be more aggressive. Because, let's briefly pause, note here, what is the current situation for the Allies? They are here, and they are here. And there's nothing largely here. What could this mean? If the Axis players were a bit clever, they just move up here, cut them off fully, and then they just, well, deal with the British player. One attacks from here, the other attacks from here. So, solid infantry force with some flamethrowers, MGs, Panzerjets, perhaps a bit of other stuff, and they could easily make short work of this British player's base. Currently, that's obviously not happening. And I mean, considering the way that the American players basically are just digging in and pretty much playing the Americans the way he shouldn't be, I mean, they could easily do it. And again, this player is definitely not playing the Americans the way they should be doing. Weapon support center, no infantry at all, and now he's digging in further. He's going for machine gun replacements, tank traps, whatnot. He is playing them as defensively as they can get, and that is where the Americans fare the poorest. Well, does rubbish anyways. So in that sense, I mean, really not encouraging play by Spirit Star, really not getting the essence of the Americans, which is aggressive play, always attacking. Even in the defense, you should attack or be some sort of fluid or mobile. Again, the Americans also much about mobility. This guy is anything but mobile. In that sense, he's really setting himself up for achieving nothing. We are trying to see, of course, knocking out the mortar and plating. The MP4 is doing that quite nicely. British forces hoarding in. There's no lieutenant by the looks of it. Oh, wait, he's there. Volkskriegs need to retreat. And there we go. Troops getting sniped. Kriegberg's going up for him. Lots of Wehrmacht troops hanging about there. Grenadiers as well. MG opening up. We're seeing a bit of smoke rounds from the rifle grenades. That's an interesting move. Not a bad one necessarily, that's but a bit rare. If they're actually going to attack, but apparently they don't really seem to be doing much, so it just seems like a waste of munitions. Trench going down, mortar emplacement in need of repairs. Moving in there, finally going for sort of cutting them off. I mean, obviously the resource will still go in, but it's more about this sort of psychological aspect. And we're seeing an MG being milled in, hitting the wire going in there. Well, there's some grenadiers there doing not much. And the American player again, basically just digging himself in for an attack that's never going to happen. Largely. Sniper continues sniping. Lots of troops. The Kampfgruppe von Tettau showing itself from not its best, but then again the Kampfgruppe von Tettau was largely composed of not really the best of combat troops. We're talking security units, we're talking large units of spare Kriegsmarine personnel, of Luftwaffe personnel, not even the Luftwaffe field divisions, but basically pilots and such without aircraft given a gun and sent into the fight. Or for that matter, there was one from the Hermann Göring replacement, all that unit, the Warszawski Battalion, which was apparently a coastal defense unit, so I'm not even sure how much it had to do with anything. We're seeing the Wehrmacht pushing up here in a blobby formation, which they should be careful about, particularly considering they're close to the machine gun emplacement. I have no idea what he was even hoping to achieve here. I mean, this just seems mindless. Mortar emplacement got cleared up, but not fully, and one thing that wonders me is why he didn't just pop into the building nearby and just finish it off. Stuart Light Tank now joining in for Angeleyez, rolling out. Wehrmacht needs to move away. We're going to see a bit of Panzerfausting on it. There we go, rear armor hit, MG on the run. Escaping the might of the Stuart Light Tank, which is currently wreaking havoc on the forces of Zatami. And again, Deadnation not really seeing much at all, rather unimaginative and poor play, I would say, to be a bit rude and unfriendly probably, but at the same time, I mean, he's got so much infantry and he's achieving pretty much nothing with it. And now, you note, Spirit Stars now rush for tank depot, and what does he go for? He doesn't actually go for the tanks! He goes for the tank destroyers, and again, that's the sort of, oh, it has tank in its name, it must be a tank! I mean, yes, there is tank in tank destroyer, but that doesn't mean it's the best against infantry. Although Hellcat is reasonably accurate, but still, I mean, a Sherman would be the better choice, plus it has more health. Of course, it doesn't help that the Wehrmacht just lets its pioneers die, but never mind. Recce chaps moving up, Volkskriegs need to retreat, getting gunned, murdered. Sniper shouldn't be near that close to the Recce section. Anyways, could get sniped. And now again, a very passive force from Spirit Star, hoping that the Hellcat function as a tank will win him through. Pack now out for Satamis, and that's possessed one Panzerich, the only anti-tank assets they have. I mean, really, again, there's sort of another, you know, golden rule for 2 versus 2s, but also 1 versus 1. Always have your own goddamn anti-tank assets. Never expect anyone to have something for you to use or help you with. I mean, it's great if you sort of need to get dug out, but always have your own. And currently, there is none of that for Deadnation. He's in fact moving on to Sturm Armory, despite having known there's a Stuart Light Tank out for some time, and of course there's the Hellcat. So really some really not encouraging mistakes also by the Wehrmacht. Or again, Hellcat trying to fight a pack from the front. Panzerfaust. Pack though getting outflanked, so never mind. Troops here getting suppressed by the 30 caliber. At least that was set up sort of sensibly in support of the, but I wouldn't call it assault, but more advanced. Volkskriegs getting suppressed, Grenadiers also suppressed. In fact, the Volkskriegs are pinned down. Chaos for the Wehrmacht. MG hiding. Sappers now moving in. Hellcat with its main gun knocked out. Another Hellcat on the way. Again, achieving pretty much nothing. Troops in need of dire reinforcement. MG on the way now for Sotami. Piets on the Sappers. Rifle grenades on the MG in the house. Losing an MG for Sotami. Wasting units senselessly. And he's interesting enough, he's set up a forward barracks, but he's not training anything from it. Why not at least get a pack or some more grenadiers? And now another MG went down. Brilliant! The Kampfgruppe von Tettau utterly floundering in the fight. How about reinforcing from that forward barracks, perhaps, gentlemen? Coming under heavy fire. Again, not reinforcing. In fact, Deadnation now just conducting a full retreat instead of trying to perhaps partially use the forward barracks to reinforce from and fight there. I mean, really, absolutely bad play now. We're seeing the Grenadiers moving in, heavily equipped. The best the Kampfgruppe tettau can muster, apparently, since they've been equipped with a Panzerschreck and an MG. Stewart taking heavy damage, Volksgunners with MP40 moving in, rifle grenades flying out from the balcony of the house, hoping to hit a few Jerrys. Brits digging a trench under fire. Commander's elves are out for Angeleyez, who is obviously going for the commando doctrine. Nebelwerf is now arriving from, by the looks of it, Deadnation. And Grenadier score almost wiped out, dropping a Panzerschreck. Sniper down as well for Zotami. I mean, he's really suffering hugely again due to, well, poor unit preservation. Not really even getting something out of that Ford barracks in the post office. Really, really pointless. And definitely needs some improvement. Plus, of course, Spirit Star needs to stop using tank destroyers as tanks. And he's just getting more of them. He's not getting any infantry at all. He's not going for a doctrine that could give him some infantry. He's just throwing in more tank destroyers. Of course, currently they're doing alright, and these chaps need to get out of that sliver of health. Bren gunners in a trench, just press delete, get it to them out, and then get them back. Same applies to these chaps. Another pack on the way, a mortar on the way. And Detonation needs to get something happening. Panzerschreck now on the Grenadiers. Volksgrenadiers not even fully reinforced before sending them out. Oh, never mind. Stug on the way to Nebelwerfers.
We're losing a sector.
Infantry section getting burned. Forward barracks collapsing under fire from a Hellcat. Another one finding a way. Grenadiers moving up with a Panzerschreck. And there we go. The chaps in the trench are gone. Infantry section lost again. Unit preservation, unit preservation, unit preservation. Don't have a unit hanging about like that when you can retreat it and reinforce it. That was just a pointless waste of infantry. And again, that's sort of one of the trigger things again for a novice to know, you know. In cavalry heroes, unit preservation matters. It's not just something you throw away. You constantly always try to keep your units going, because getting a completely new one is considerably more expensive. So again, always reinforce. Never just throw a unit away, just replace it. Never. And Detonation once more on the retreat. Stug out. Another Nebelwerf on the way. How about some more armor? Pack sneaking up. Germans not really looking back. The Kampfgruppe von tettau still in trouble against this unknown British force of some glider battalion supported by Americans out of nowhere. And again, note all of these defenses, but again, basically a lot of resources achieving nothing. Hellcats moving in. Pack needs to get firing. Pioneer squad gone. And of course, I mean, that volume of Hellcats, and they are ridiculously accurate against infantry. I mean, you probably retreat, but again, Detonation fails to do so. But at the same time, you know, good shot, and there we go, Hellcat gone.
We have 200 points.
Another shot. More shots, more Nebelwerfers. Hellcat actually gets decrewed, amazing. And for some reason, he actually fires Nebelwerfers at the Hellcats. Not really anti-armor weaponry. Just suggesting, anyways. Grenadiers quickly take up position in the trench. Another unit down. More pack gets off a good hit on the Hellcat. Hellcat managed to get behind the ruins of the postal office. Assault going on here, and we are seeing storming up, and he's... Are you bloody kidding me? Popping in a commander squad right in front of the bunker? What was he thinking? And now we're just seeing mass MP40s being equipped for Detonation's Volksgrenadiers. More commandos rushing straight in front. Grenadiers also moving up with their MG. And some of them actually managing to get past it. A heroic charge from the lieutenant saves the day, apparently. But of course, Volksgrenadiers and Grenadiers moving in with Panzerschrecks and MP40. And carnage ensues. And the assault is faring pretty poorly. Grenadiers with MGs tear through them. MP40's definitely adding, so do the Panzerschrecks. And that pretty much means two full squads of commandos just got massacred. Sappers moving in, right into all the MG fire as well. Artillery called in bounds on the bunkers. Hellcats being thrown back finally, again due to a rather considerable lack of armor and an overall considerable lack of effect. Still coming under fire. In fact, we're seeing the assault guns finally moving out. That veteranry though. More Hellcats being thrust into the fight in the apparent Soviet line of thinking: if one Hellcat fails, more will succeed, comrades. Also notice that the British players looking considerably vulnerable right now. One good solid German attack with enough infantry and a bit of armor could pretty much ruin them, I suspect. And why did you put down tank traps there? How are you going to even get out of your base with your armor, you? Again, that's also one thing you have to be careful about, trapping yourself. I mean, that's also something the Germans were very much appreciative of, which in fact meant they tended not to completely lock them in, even with mines, because again, they didn't want to get caught up there. And then we have this guy managing to trap himself and his Stug right now. God. Im Himmel. Just absolutely dreadful. More artillery getting called in. Apparently Angeleyez doing most of the artillerying. In this case it was decoy smoke. Still no real assault against the Brits here. I mean, again, looking extremely vulnerable. Barely any infantry left for him. I mean, again, one good push here could pretty much throw it all down. Hellcats here going to fall apart, and Spirit Star pretty much achieving nothing, just throwing more Hellcats into the grinder. I mean, had this been company years too, he'd probably have handed over quite a few of them to the enemy. At this stage, and certainly not even a medic station from the Germans considering all the infantry, or a tree ascent or a casualty station from the Allies. And now we're seeing a 25-pounder gun going up. Another Hellcat goes out of control, careening into another Hellcat. Oh, the wonders. Rockets hammering down right here on the infantry positions, ending mortars and engineers alike. In a great blaze, leaving Spirit Star's units wondering what the hell is our commander doing. Is he high? And again, lots of resources here, achieving nothing, lots of time, lots of everything. Look at all this munitions and fuel doing nothing. Sniper keeps pushing here, no assault still appearing. And Recce section moving in, going to hunt him down and snipe him. Nope, they fail. Obviously. Very much obviously. There we go, German assault. So Tami attacking. Several prongs of it anyways. Squad down, going in. Getting so close that the mortar and certainly the 25-pounder gun can't hit. MG Grenadiers though taking a beating. Should consider retreating or at least dropping a grenade off before doing so. Rifle grenades flying in. 14 kills so far. Brits getting murdered. Don't move away from the mortar if you want to fight. Move closer to it. Artillery going in. Actual artillery this time. And there we go, moving away. And I think the lieutenant, by the way, with a Panzerschreck. Look at this. I've got a stovepipe. Anyways. Oh dear, he's going to go down, isn't he? Apparently not. At least not yet, but quite a disaster. Lots of Piats dropped. The Grenadiers though continue despite being very low on health. Of course, he has gone terror, I believe, so he does have a seal which allows him to keep fighting and fighting quite alright despite heavy losses. And of course, there's so very little left from the British player. And there we go, Lieutenant and the last infantry section down. A Panzerschreck dropped. Easily for the Grenadiers to pick up. And Piats in there. And now we're seeing a stream of Hellcats, you know, just moving in. The Grenadiers might want to consider retreating. And there we go. Stug moving out. No, that's actually a Stu 42 lead. What a mess. And the Grenadier squad went down. By the looks of it, the one with the MG. Typical. And the Stugs, which should have been leading the assault. In fact, he's gotten 2 Stu 42s, yet not enough to deal with actually any of the British or American tank destroyers. I mean, really? What game is Deadnation playing? Because it's clearly not Commandeer Heroes. Never mind, I could say the same to Spirit Star. Pack there, though, to stop the Hellcats quite nicely. Another one probably going to bite the dust. Field repairs on, but obviously not going to stop all of that fire. Artillery quickly called in on the pack in an attempt to pacify it. Stooks nearby, no veterancy for them at all. And of course my apologies for the technical difficulties, not entirely sure why. And why it always happens about halfway through the match. Lots of needleworkers, of course, doing absolutely nothing to the armour. The needleworkers are not meant to deal with armour. They're meant to deal with infantry in placements, not in armour. So I have no idea why Deadnation again insists on it. Stuart, though, charging in. Stuart not even pointing towards the enemy. Again, you know, pointing your arm in the right direction does a bloody lot. Hellcat down. Shredding a few Volksguns with the canister round. Continuing onwards there. Allied war machine up. Stuart moving in. Hellcat more down. And there we go, Stuart out of control. The Kampfgruppe from tettau slightly stabilizing things, but obviously not that much better. And we're seeing another Stu 42 just being thrown in. Clearly the 908th Stuart Brigade, which was attached, although that was pretty much just one, well, company of assault guns, to be honest, nothing else. We are seeing them moving up, though. Finding a way at the field support truck. Volksgun is fighting against the infantry section with a Panzerschreck. Stu charges in. Pioneers even moving in. Brit tanks are getting cut down by all the submachine gun fire. Going in after the headquarters. And looks like the British player's finally been overwhelmed. Although we're seeing a new stream of Hellcats moving in. The infernal Hellcats being charged right into the mess. Another one going down. Of course, more assault guns, more troops, more Panzerschrecks. A lieutenant out of the blue. Decoy smoke getting called in. One more Hellcat. Field support truck almost down. Volksgunners should not be running at the Hellcat. And Grenadiers with a Panzerschreck and a Piat. And another Hellcat moving in. Again, absolutely, I mean, dreadful by Spirit Star. No infantry at all and no actual tanks, just Hellcats. And he's losing them in dozens. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he's going to be clearing out an entire battalion's worth of Hellcats in this match. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's at least gone through a company's worth of it. If not more. Headquarters finally went down for the Brits, and they are currently floundering in the water. We're seeing an armoured command truck now moving in, but that's not doing much in the headquarters. Just Hellcats for Spirit Star. Just Hellcats moving in towards the centre. 30 caliber setting up, but again, no infantry. Barely a few engineers, but that's it. Again, not a good unit composition at all. He can't really do much on his own. And I mean, never mind that on a map like Lorraine, where there's really just narrow streets and really little room for maneuver. I mean, again, in that sense, Hellcats aren't good either, because again, they're thinly armoured. He should have gone for Shermans, perhaps outgunned them. Instead, he went for the one thing that's definitely not going to take advantage on this map. And another Hellcat. Assault guns moving out, and a King Tiger arriving from the Schwere Panzerabteilung 506, which did have about 28 King Tigers. Though probably not all of them made it there. And I know certainly one was actually knocked out by a mortar round hitting the engine compartment, knocking out the ventilation. So that's actually a little fun story there. And Pat getting spotted, but the Hellcat will run into, but the assault guns are there, but most of them are Stews, so they're going to be of limited use. King Tiger moving in, main gun destroyed. Volksgunners getting murdered. Why is Deadnation not retreating? Again, Deadnation, retreat! Retreat, you callous bastard! More commandos thrust into the fight as if though they were Volksgunners. Artillery called in a vain attempt to clear up the assault guns, and vainly firing the Sten guns, despite knowing they won't do much, but orders from above. And already there, several of the mates are gone. Tommy and Harold. bit the dust, and that was pretty much another commander squad entirely gone, I think. Cleared out by a Stu 42 shot, and now they're all dead in a crater. Looking like a very, very naughty thing. But, I mean, clearly novice play at work here. Very novice. MG hiding in a very much collapsible building. I mean, one shot from a tank destroyer, and that's pretty much going to be good night for the MG gunner. And I'm pretty sure they're not looking forward to it. And of course, Blitzkrieg for Deadnation. And of course, the British player is achieving about, no, at this moment, Bubkiss. And the Axis could pretty much just charge right at the Allied base. I mean, they've got the King Tiger. There's no infantry to really worry about. They've got tons of assault guns. And even some needle rovers to add in some fun if necessary. And I mean, Deadnation must have enough resources and command points to get in a Tiger tank himself, which would have been from the Kampfgruppe Hummel, which was another unit which actually provided tanks, but that was apparently from a training unit or something like that. It was a display unit, I can't remember. There was certainly something about it, and the Tiger tank certainly had some problems. In fact, only 2 actually arrived out of 13. Not really the best condition Tiger tanks, probably some older variants, which were not really fit for combat duty as such. But again, a lot of training and such units were thrown in, including one which was basically a Kampfgruppe composed of one training unit of Panzers and another of Panzer Grenadiers. Commandos getting blasted with rockets, getting suppressed a bit. And again, just throwing in commandos senselessly. Not entirely sure he would have done proud, except some Soviet commander. Let's go look at Armies with his King Tiger. Lots of pioneers and grenadiers. These chaps apparently having an MG as well, the glorious MG42. Again, sort of, I mean, in some ways, British and German infantry doctrine had some similarities. Both focused on the MGs, not the rifles. Difference was, though, again, the Germans rather focused on killing something rather solidly, and of course, in that sense, they favoured, you know, more bullets, partly because it also, of course, gave them increased firepower, and of course, also increased sort of overall combat abilities. The British, on the other hand, just sort of focused, you know, killing as well, but through accuracy. And another way. Obviously, I mean, in that sense, the Bren gun, though, was not quite an MG, though. And was certainly the subservient, but that's not to say it was a bad gun, just, you know, not an MG42 or a 34. Hellcat, though, charges in. MG opens up on the commandos. Panzerich connects. Commandos taking heavy losses, as usual. Commandos dying. Brutally. And now we're seeing a Calliope out for Spirit. In fact, apparently that actually managed to kill something impressive. But still not really encouraging. Detonation again needs to retreat some units. Detonation. An MG bunker here stopping a commando assault. Their glider vanishing in a burst of packed fire. And the commanders themselves are dying and already pinned. And they're getting snot as well. Clearly a rather catastrophic airborne assault right there. All the assault guns are more or less gone due to the Calliope, I suppose. No further response from there. Nothing here. Rather passive play from the Axis. But rather close to them actually losing, despite, again, not really good play from the Allies either. And, I mean, this isn't even very safe either. I mean, the thing is, I mean, one Goliath and a few assault guns could easily make short work of all of this. Or a Tiger, or a Panther, or a King Tiger. I mean, it wouldn't take much in all of this again. All open. Secure this, and, of course, wreck all of these observation posts, which would be a ton of manpower gone. I mean, this is 800 manpower just in low resource points and a few medium ones. Not really good strategy either. Grenadiers hold up here. in a nice building, firing from the upper balconies with a puncher's heck. Hellcat's nearby, and he actually managed to miss catastrophically. Clearly Heinz has been a bit into the schnapps. And again, Deadnation just throwing away units. Deadnation, what are you thinking? Why are you not reinforcing at all? And now V1 rocket is ready. Hellcat out of control for Zutami. Firestorm instead getting called in. One of V1. He asked. And he actually calls in it right there. Again, a V1 would have done better. And there we go, Hellcat gone. Machine gun emplacement gone. Troops right up here getting murdered as they're trying to knock out some of the Nebelwerfers. I mean, really, again, poor unit composition. And more commandos just being thrown in. Absolutely senseless. Still no Tiger. And a Panther actually now out for Zutami. Not sure where that came from. Commander's getting burned. Getting blasted. Assault guns moving up. Finally into some sort of base assault. Calliope moving away. Assault on the base of Angeleyez. Let's go look at Deadnation, who can get a Tiger, but insists on getting everything else but a Tiger. Now we're seeing Blitzkrieg up, increasing the rate of fire and the rate of movement of infantry and armor. In fact, all German infantry sprints, and they also fire a bit faster. And there we go. Angeleyez base is completely gone. There is nothing left. Now, of course, the base of Spirit Star is completely open as well. King Tiger also moving in. And their headquarters is gone. Spirit Star leaving. Repairing the Hellcat in a rather considerably vain effort. How about focusing on the Hellcat first? And there we go, game over. Angeleyez leaving as well. A retreat fully there for the Allies, forced out of this quarter of Arnhem. And certainly with some heavy losses for the Kampfgruppe von Tettau as well. I mean, again, novice level fighting, so again, don't expect anything exciting. Again, expect something with a lot of flaws and some vital flaws that need to be pointed out. And in this case, I mean, again, passivity. I mean, really the opposite of how the Americans ought to be played from, you know, Spirit Star. Very defensive, heavy on emplacements, no infantry, and then he just rushed for tank destroyers without understanding what a tank destroyer is and kept losing them. Really poor play from Spirit Star again. Tank destroyers are not tanks. Tanks are tanks. Shermans are tanks. Use those if you must, but also get some infantry to support it. And that was absolutely dreadful. And Angeleyez, you know, rushing up here. Not really a solid position in the first place, in particular since he didn't sort of, you know, go for it more slowly. And sort of lacking in armor. Placements not really well placed either in some manners. No casualty station, certainly no medic station either. For the Germans, no medic bunkers, but again also, you know, just the passivity. I mean, they sort of had here and then Detonation sort of floundered about. No real sort of attempt to quickly snuff this out, which again could easily have happened because again, and this was also importantly, the Allies were not working together. They went each their way and did not support each other. There was some support from the Axis for each other, and that was about it what won them. Because again, Deadnation's unit preservation was atrocious. His unit composition, alright, I suppose he had some artillery, he had some tank destruction stuff and all that, but again, some parts should have been out fast, like some anti-tank. Poor usage of the head for barracks right there, and again, you know, but also another thing, you know, poor sort of gouging of the fighting, and again, that's probably what lost Detonation a lot of troops senselessly. A bit the same, you know, for his teammate there. Although did have a slightly better unit composition, some better understanding of infantry units in the end, was the one who finished all this up here. And it's in a sense also, you know, some really poor choice of fights from the British when he finally did attack, losing a lot of units senselessly. I mean, a lot of these things, you know, You know, knowing when to fight, knowing when not to fight. It's an absolutely vital skill to learn and should be sort of gauged as soon as possible. But again, you know also what are tanks and what are not. Tanks also extremely vital. And other bits, you know, again, you know, unit preservation, knowing when to fight, knowing not to fight and such, but also aggressiveness. In company who's, you have to be aggressive, you have to attack, and you have to move out. I mean, yes, you should have some defenses, but again, they should not be everything, and that was also the problem right here. They were all that was. But there we go. Hope you learned something from this fight. If you did, why not subscribe to your friends, and if you didn't, well, why not just replay of your own, or provide some feedback in the comments. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter or on Facebook. The links are in the video description. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.